Good evening, fuckers. We are back with the next Train Simulator Classic request video. And for this one, we are back once again on the Southeastern Network. Specifically, we are going to be on the North Kent line for at least a fair bit of this. So we are going to be starting at Rochester station. Our destination is London Cannon Street, and we're going to say that this is being done on a Saturday, and Cannon Street, for whatever reason, is only open to passengers on Monday to Fridays. And the reason for that is that our choice of loco is the class 419. Now, I've become quite a fan of these first generation 400 series emus, third rail using emus. But the 419 was quite an unusual one insofar as, I mean, there is no getting away from it. It is absolutely an emu, but it was not designed for passenger use. The only time this ever actually was used in a passenger train, you would have like a 419 as the front driving car, but the rest of it behind you would be made up of something like, you know, either a 423 or 421. There were even instances of it pulling a 412. So yeah, that was the only way that it was ever actually used in passenger service. We are not going to be doing any kind of passenger service, which is one of the reasons why we are heading into Cannon Street on a Saturday. Anyway, I'll explain more of that once the video is up and running. So our train is actually 5 units, 2 of the class 419s themselves, and 3 GUVs. If you don't know what they are, you'll soon find out. As far as specifics, conditions are truly horrible. It is winter, it is raining, and it is 2 PM. Not the longest of journeys, I think it's barely 30 miles. And we are going to be making stops along the way. Again, I'll explain those when we get underway. Speaking of which, let's do just that. And here we are. Right, let's set the train up before we do anything else. We'll put the cab light on actually, because yeah, it is a bit dull and murky and what have you. So here is our class 419, and as you can see from the open doors here, yep, we've got loads of mail bags being loaded up. There you go. And that is predominantly what the 419 was used. And these additional GUV wagons, yeah, are more parcel wagons. So, yeah. So they're carrying things like where you got newspapers there, express parcels there, another express parcels one, and then all the like regular mail sacks are going into the 419 itself. And yeah, this is Rochester Station. You can just about make out the sun there. So, London Cannon Street is 30.61 miles away. According to the ETA, it's going to take us just shy of an hour. Now we are going to make 2 stops, essentially to pick up more mail. The first stop is actually at a station that I can't remember the name of, which is rather annoying, but it's the station that you would get off at if you're going to Blue Water. It's where the timeline of this run kind of goes a bit weird, because yeah, this is very much set in the 80s, might be early 90s, but either way, Blue Water didn't exist then, so yeah, you have to forgive us for that one. So that'll be the first stop. The second stop will be at Greenwich, and yeah, that'll be the final one. Then we go on to Cannon Street itself. So let's get underway. So the 419 is quite different to any of the other emus that were around at the time, especially first generation emus. So all those others, you know, the 411, 412, 415, 416, even 421, 22 and 23, all had pretty much the same sort of driver layout. This one is a bit different. It has battery power here, so if for whatever reason you've wound up on rails that were not electrified, this did have the battery backup, so it could continue working. So yeah, this whole business of yeah, battery trains is nothing new. This is a train that was built in the 1950s, so we crossed the Medway. I do like how nicely battered and that the train looks. I mean, it is a proper old crate, and they've gone all out to make it look the part, and it looks great. So we're on a 1 in 50 downhill section here. Yeah, this is now the bars here that would show like your brake pressure and that are not appearing. I don't know if that is a bug or if it is to do with the way that the brakes on this thing work. They again are somewhat different, and effectively the brakes are either on or off. It doesn't look like there is any sort of, like, you know, in between. There's no different levels of braking. Could do with speeding up a bit, like. So as we go through Strood station, some external shots of Strood. So this is all, you know, once again on the freeware Southeastern Network route DLC. gaining speed from this 1 in 138. Okay, it has leveled out a little bit now. Now we have a long old tunnel here. And thankfully our speed limit goes up to 70 as we are going through here. Right, let's stick it straight in the wheat field and get some speed up. We can turn off the windscreen wiper while we are going through here. There's a very small gap before we go into a second tunnel that's coming up. Once we are out of that tunnel, we are approaching Higham Station. This tunnel is a fair length. So max speed of this thing is 90. I mean, that is not bad. This thing is no slouch. So it's actually going to be the line speed that dictates our speed here, rather than the max speed of the train itself. So here we are, and here is Higham Station. Here we are at 70, so we're going to have to coast through a bit. So we are approaching Old Who Junction. I mean, at least with it raining, it's you know, warm enough for the all this snow to actually start melting. So hopefully we're not going to have too many issues with regarding the adhesion to the rail. So we have the really impressive Who Junction staff halt here. Yeah, a few planks of wood now together. speed back up. We've lost 5 mph here. Power took a bit to kick in there. So I dare say a fair few of you recognise this as being part of the Chatham Main Line. Most of the Chatham Main Line routes will have you going along this this actual part of the network, but we will soon be coming off there and going on to, or I should say back onto the North Kent line. So we are approaching Gravesend. So that first AWS there was for the 50 mph speed limit coming up. We get another one pretty soon for the 30. I thought that was going to be it, but no. We'll start bringing our speed down gradually. Next application of brakes will take us down to 30 for that particular speed limit coming up. So that was the 30 mph limit AWS alert. Here we are entering the 30 mph limit now. So we go through Gravesend. We've got the sander going. It's been going pretty much since we started. I think it might be an idea to actually leave it running. That'll slowly get us back up to 30, but we'll soon put it into full throttle as we are now back in the 70 zone. Northfleet is the next station, and we turn off just before we get there because we were to carry on the line that we are currently on, take us to Ebbsfleet, or specifically Ebbsfleet International. In fact, we may already be on that line that takes us away from there. I think the actual junction that ensures we don't end up going to Ebbsfleet was quite a way back. So now we are on the, in fact that might be it there. Yeah, there it is. That would take you down to, that takes you over to Ebbsfleet. You can see Ebbsfleet station there. While we carry on to Northfleet here. So this is now the North Kent line that we are on. Again, this does rather sort of mess up the timeline that we're talking about, because yeah, Ebbsfleet International, yeah, certainly wasn't Ebbsfleet International back then, and you certainly didn't have yeah, HS1 that we are going over here. We approach Swanscombe and Greenhithe. That's the station that we are going to be stopping at, or the first station. Greenhithe for Blue Water. Okay, let's start taking on some more mail sacks. And while we're doing that, yeah, we can take a look at Greenhithe station here. So I don't know if this is Blue Water. I've never been to Blue Water. I don't really need to, because I mean, here in Essex, of course, we've got Lakeside. So if I was mad or desperate enough to want to go to a huge bloody great shopping centre, then yeah, I've got that one. I'm not particularly eager to go to any of them, but there you are. Right, anyway, that stop is done. Let's get back underway. So our next stop is Greenwich. Hear the old compressors going. So we have a 50 mph section fast approaching, 50 mph zone. Here we are at Stone Crossing station. Not going to go down in history as the most memorable of stations. Dartford is next. Let's introduce another stop. Dartford is quite a major station on this route, so yeah, we'll stop there, pick up mail from Dartford. I must admit, I was not expecting to see Dartford here. See from all these lines here, Dartford is most certainly a major station along this route. So yeah, it wouldn't really make any sense to skip this one. So yeah, here we are. Now, while we are picking up the mail bags, you can see the doors are open. I want to check something. Here's the route. Let's move back to where we are. So yeah, this is us. So we have just come from Stone Crossing, yeah. So we are heading up here. To, yeah, so Barnhurst will be our next stop. Now I have a horrible feeling, yeah, Bexleyheath, it's actually moved us off the route that I wanted us to be doing. Here, I wanted us to go straight on. Although looking at it, yeah, there is a way of being able to go straight on at Slade Green. And yeah, that's what I wanted to be doing. And this is the route that would have taken us to Greenwich. I think Greenwich is just a bit, yeah, we've got Woolwich Arsenal here, Woolwich Dockyard, Charlton, Mayfield, yeah, there's Greenwich there. But we are now going the wrong way. We're down here. And we're actually following the same route that we did in the previous video on this route, going from Dartford to, well, in that one we went from Dartford to Charing Cross. So that's a bit of a shame, that. Okay, while we are just very slowly trundling along here, I'll just bring up the map again. So this entire area here that you're seeing, all of that is the area that this one route DLC, this one freeware route DLC covers. It's a huge area. It is a bit of a shame that it's sending us this way instead of via Greenwich, but, well, I've introduced the second stop at Dartford, which, yeah, so at least we've done 2 stops along the way, which was always the intention. It's just that the second stop has not been the one that, yeah, I planned on it being. So we're now in a 40 mph zone. Take it up to parallel. I don't think we need to go faster than knots 3. Once we're into the 60 zone, then I think we'll take it up to yeah, take it up to the top of the shot, Wheatfield. We're into the 60 zone now, and I've put it in the Wheatfield because we're going back down to 40 very soon. We've got to get us down to 20 for the it's almost certainly going to be points that we are going over. yeah, there we are in the 40 zone and now straight into the 20. As we come off that line, I really wanted to be carrying on that line rather than turning down here, but oh well. We're on a 1 in 67 uphill climb here. We're up to, yeah, now into a 35 zone. Still climbing, 1 in 80 now. We're now in a 60 mph zone, so let's take it into wheat field and Barnhurst station coming up. We are not going to be stopping any more stations along the way. This is now going non-stop to Cannon Street. Here we are at Barnhurst Station. So if you saw the Dartford to Charing Cross video, all of these stations that we are approaching will all be very familiar to you. Or of course if you live in the area. Not what I wanted. So anyway, that is Bexleyheath station. And Welling is next. Will we get any trackside views here? It would be a pleasant surprise, but yeah, it would certainly be a surprise. Yeah, looks like it's just going to be the overhead view all the time. Welling station. Really need to pay more attention to the speedo. This thing accelerates better than I give it credit for. So yeah, Falconwood station here. And Eltham station, we do have a speed decrease down to 30 as we come out of that station. Need to be braking a bit harder than we are. One in 129. Okay, it's not quite so steep now, but we were still gaining speed even though we were coasting. It's now 1 in 120, and yeah, we are still gaining speed. So here we are at Eltham station. We are now in the 30 zone. It is fairly short, which is a good job. This 1 in 113, it's now 1 in 76. It's not going to make it easy to keep our speed below 30. You can clearly see why the speed limit is so low. So now in the 60 zone, now we can get our speed back up. mph limit as we approach the tunnel just after Kidbrooke station. You can hear the compressors going again. Here is Kidbrooke station. Despite slowing down, we are not stopping here. Still gaining speed though, because of the gradient. Even though the gradient is 1 in 260. Yeah, now we're okay. In fact, we can now just speed up a little bit. In the 20 zone, it's 1 in 115, means that yeah, we were picking up speed. I was not paying attention yet again. Right, into a 55, we can go get some speed up again. We go through a Bexleyheath station. We're not going to get a hell of a lot of speed up. We have another 20 mph limit as we approach Lewisham station. One in 76 downhill on the way here. So we'll take it beyond 20, because no doubt this rather steep downhill incline is going to increase our speed a bit, hopefully not too much. So we're in the 20 zone. So yeah, here we are at the Lewisham station. Yeah, because of the rain and everything, we're not going to be able to see too many of you know, the likes of the Shard and all that in the background. Probably be able to see it once we're at London Bridge, but that's because it's right on top of us there. into a 60 zone. Let's hope we can actually maintain this speed for a little bit. This is St John's station here. Normally we're the other side, but I can live with that. Very easily, in fact. So we do have a 45 section fast approaching, so we just shave off that slight extra speed. There you go. So we're now fine. So this is New Cross station. So we're into a 55 zone, which very quickly, there we are, into a 45 zone. We will soon be entering a 60 zone, but we're really not going to get the chance to pick up a hell of a lot of speed because we are quite close to the end of the run. So we're entering the 60 zone now. I mean, we'll certainly, you know, throttle up. We'll see what we can do. I'll wait for the amps to start coming through. There we are. London Bridge station is now on the route display, 1.5 miles away. Obviously we have the quite significant speed reduction as we approach there, down to 20. It's not long after London Bridge that Cannon Street itself comes along. Certainly a lot quicker getting to Cannon Street from London Bridge than it is getting to Charing Cross. But Cannon Street's a weird old station. I don't know why it's not open on the weekends. So it only operates Monday to Friday. Its operational times are fairly restricted as well. It does make you wonder what sort of like purpose it serves. Most of the services that run from Cannon Street are very sort of short. the service to Hastings, there is a Cannon Street to Hastings service, not just the one that I drove in this game. That is surely the longest route that you can get from that station. But I can remember when I was going into London fairly often in the early to mid 90s, Cannon Street was certainly the underground station was closed pretty much every single time I went there. I know it underwent a lot of refurbishment, so the underground station could have been permanently closed for a fair while they were doing that, but yeah, for the best part of 4 or 5 years when I was going to London fairly regularly, Cannon Street underground station was never open. So you can now certainly see the Shard now that we are right underneath it, as near as damn it. So into the 20 zone. Get us a bit closer to 20 mph as we are approaching here. But yeah, there'll be no point in mail train stopping here because yeah, we are so close to the final destination. If they did have mail bags to send from here, they would do it through the underground. The London Bridge does have an underground station on the Northern Line. So yeah, it's certainly a fair old size station, London Bridge. So we turn right at the next points. Whereas if we were going to be going up the Charing Cross, we would just go straight on. In fact, it's already got us onto the lines to take us yeah, that way. So that is the route that takes you to, or initially, Waterloo East and then Charing Cross. See St Paul's over there. So double yellows, which is just to be expected. Cannon Street station dead ahead as we cross the Thames. Sure, this does not have those magnetic triggers of the emergency braking, not at this station. Well, we turn off the windscreen wipers, don't need them now. Yeah, it's difficult to yeah, just bring it to a gradual halt here. Yeah, in fact, yeah, let's just stop here. So, there we are. That was Rochester to London Cannon Street in the class 419, the MLV. Yeah, and that was a decent run in a decent emu. Unusual emu, so far as, yeah, it's not a passenger service. It's a shame that the route didn't take us the way I wanted. We didn't go via Greenwich. I did get quite a few speeding errors on this one. Yeah, 5. That's not so great. So yeah, wasn't a particularly good run from me, but yeah, all things considered, I say I would have been much happier if it had done the route I actually wanted it to do. But you know, is what it is. We were on the North Kent line for a little bit anyway. So that, yeah, that is that. That brings this video to an end, and we will see you at the next one.